Today on Forbes, Trump has spent about 1/3 of his presidency visiting his own properties. Stationed in Scotland for several days this past week, Donald Trump camped out in the sorts of destinations he likes best, his own businesses. He examined Trump Turnberry's grounds alongside the U.S. ambassador, touted its ballroom in front of the European Commission's president, and, on Tuesday morning, unveiled a second golf course at his property in Aberdeenshire with his sons Eric and Don Jr. No modern president has blended private business and public duties quite like Trump. Having sold his Washington, D.C. hotel in 2022, the president returned to office with no property in the nation's capital. That has not stopped him from personally tending to his assets. He went to one of his clubs 16 of his first 17 weekends, and he has now spent time at his businesses on 75 of his first 190 days back in office, according to a Forbes analysis, traveling to Florida, New Jersey, Virginia, Nevada, and of course, Scotland. Forbes has tracked the trips month by month from January through July, identifying each day that Trump visited one of his properties. Days after taking office on January 20th, Trump headed to Las Vegas, staying in his hotel just off the Strip. He then flew to Miami to welcome Republican representatives to a conference at Trump National Doral. The president returned to D.C. after a couple days in Florida, then headed back south the next weekend to visit Mar-a-Lago on January 31st and remain there to start February. Mar-a-Lago quickly became the president's go-to getaway after he returned to power. Since returning to office, Trump has spent time at Mar-a-Lago on 35 days, including 12 in February, according to Forbes' analysis. The president went to one of his clubs on 16 of his first 17 weekends in office, including every weekend in March. He had plenty to do there, such as host fundraisers, despite being constitutionally barred from winning a third term. On Saturday, March 1st, Trump held a candlelight dinner at Mar-a-Lago for MAGA Inc., a political action committee established 2 days after his 2024 victory. Between his many visits to Florida, Trump spent a day at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. Trump made market-rattling news at the beginning of April, promising to impose worldwide tariffs. With the S&P 500 down 5% the day after the announcement, the president flew from Washington, D.C. to Florida again. This time, it was to make an appearance ahead of a tournament at Doral for the Saudi-backed Live Golf. He then headed to Mar-a-Lago for the weekend. Trump spent 11 of 30 days in April at his own properties. In mid-May, the president left the United States for a 3-country tour through the Middle East. His business probably didn't fade too far from his mind. The president first stopped in Saudi Arabia, where he recently secured deals to license his name on 3 properties. Next, he headed to Qatar, home to another new project. Finally, he went to the United Arab Emirates, where Trump already has 2 deals and may soon add a third in Abu Dhabi. He returned stateside on May 16th and spent many of May's remaining days at his clubs in Virginia and New Jersey. During the summer months, Trump shies away from the Florida heat. That just means more time at his golf clubs in New Jersey and Virginia, the latter of which provides a convenient place for schmoozing fellow politicians. On June 28th, with Congress nearing a vote on the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, Trump took 3 senators, Lindsey Graham, Eric Schmidt, and Rand Paul, out to play golf at his course. Paul, known for his independent thinking, voted against the bill anyway. The outing marked one of Trump's 3 days at the course in June. The president spent time at his club in New Jersey another 4 days, according to the Forbes analysis. Trump has long had a domineering attitude toward Europe, so it was little surprise when, on his recent trip there, he encouraged other leaders to come to him, specifically to his golf resort at Trump Turnberry. They obliged, with a visit from European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, who met with the president in a ballroom he named after himself. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer arrived the next day, prompting Trump to gush over windows in the facility. For full coverage, check out Dan Alexander's piece on forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.